Hi, I'm Dr. Renugar. In this session, I will discuss deadlock avoidance methods. Let's start. With deadlock avoidance, a decision is made dynamically whether the current resource allocation request, if granted, potentially lead to a deadlock. Deadlock avoidance assures that a deadlock point is never reached. There are two approaches for deadlock avoidance. Do not start a process if its demands might lead to a deadlock. And the second approach is do not grant an incremental resource request to a process if this allocation might lead to a deadlock. Deadlock avoidance requires that if we have a prior knowledge of how a process will request the resources, then it is possible to determine that whether we are entering an unsafe state. So, there are three possible states. Deadlock state. In deadlock state, no forward progress can be made. Then there is unsafe state, a state that may allow deadlock. Safe state. Safe state is a sequence of processes such that there are enough resources for the first to finish, and as it finishes and releases its resources, then there are enough for the next to finish. The rule is simple. If a request allocation would cause an unsafe state, do not honor that request. We see that all deadlocks are unsafe, but all unsafes are not deadlocks. It means if your system moves in an unsafe state, then it may go to deadlock state or it may not go to deadlock state. It may remain in unsafe state. However, if your system is in safe state, then there is no deadlock in your system. And deadlock avoidance method states that we ensure that your system will never enter an unsafe state. Your system never enter an unsafe state. Means there will be some conditions that will keep on coming. Those conditions, those requests will keep on coming, but deadlock avoidance will ensure that whether these requests should be fulfilled or not, just to ensure that the system do not enter in an unsafe state. Let's assume deadlock avoidance with the help of an example. We consider a system with 12 magnetic tape drives, okay, and there are three processes in the system, P0, P1 and P2. We have seen that the maximum need of tape drives of P0 is 10, maximum need of P1 of tape drives is 4, and maximum need of P2 for tape drives is 9. Currently, 5 tape drives have been allocated to P0, 2 have been allocated to P1. So the total number of tape drives that have been allocated is 5 plus 2 plus 2, which is 9. So currently the number of available tape drives in system is 12 minus 9 is equal to 3. These are the current needs of every process. P0 needs 5 more to finish, P1 needs 2 more to finish, and P2 needs 7 more to finish. Okay. Now this is the snapshot of the system at any time P0. If we are able to find a safe sequence, that is, if we are able to find a sequence in which we are able to execute these processes such that request of every process can be fulfilled, then the system is in safe state. Let's first find out the safe sequence. So we will start with P0. We have just 3 available tape drives. Are you able to fulfill the need of P0? No. Why? Because its need is 5, which is greater than 3. P1 needs 2 tape drives to finish its execution, and it is less than 3. So we can allocate 2 tape drives to P1. So P1 can first finish. Now if P1 can finish, then it can release the resources that were initially allocated to it. So now the available becomes 3 plus 2, which is 5. Can you fulfill the need of P2? It is 7, which is greater than 5. So we cannot fulfill the need of P2. P2 must wait. Again, we'll go to P0. Can the request of P0 be fulfilled now? Yes. 5 is less than equal to 5. So next process that will execute is P0, and P0 will release all the resources that are allocated to it, which are 5. So now the available resources become 5 plus 5 equals to 10. Now clearly we can fulfill the need of P2, which was 7, and 7 is less than 10. So if P2 is able to complete, then it will release the resources that were allocated to it. So the available will now become 10 plus 2, which is equal to 12. So this is a safe sequence. If you allow these set of processes to execute in this manner, like first P1, then P0, and then P2, then your system remains in a safe state. Now suppose that P2 requests and it is given one more tape drive. It means that the scenario is not like this now. The scenario is P2 requests for one more tape drive. That is, P2 has been allocated one more tape drive. Now P2 has allocated 3 tape drives. Now its current needs are 6. So we have to see whether the system is still in safe state or not. Now can you check the number of available tape drives? Available tape drives in this case is now 5 plus 2 plus 3, which is, allocated is 5 plus 2 plus 3, which is 10. So available becomes 12 minus 10 equals to 2. We will start with P0. P0 currently needs 5 and its need is greater than the available. So we cannot fulfill P0. Can we fulfill P1? P1 needs 2 and 2 is less than equal to 2. So yes, we can fulfill the request of P1. So once the request of P1 is fulfilled, P1 will release the resources that were allocated to it. So the available resources become 2 plus 2 equals to 4. Now the available resources are 4. Now come to P2. Are we now able to fulfill the need of P2? No. 6 is greater than 4. So P2 must wait. P2 must wait. Again go to P0. Its need is 5 and 5 is greater than 4. P0 has to wait. So what we see that our mistake was we grant the request of P2 by giving it one more tape drive. If we had made P2 wait for one more drive, then the system would not have gone in deadlock state. Other processes must have finished and released their resources. So we could have avoided deadlock. So we have avoided deadlock by not granting the request of P2. So currently the system goes in deadlock state. So previously that I discussed, at that time the system was in safe state. As soon as I granted the request of one more tape drive of P2, the system goes from safe state to unsafe state. And finally, the system goes to deadlock state because I am not able to fulfill the request of any further process. All the processes are now waiting and they are blocked. They are deadlocked. So I hope now you are able to understand the concept of safe state, unsafe state and deadlock state. So clearly unsafe state may lead to deadlock. All unsafe states are not deadlock states, but yes, deadlock state is definitely an unsafe state. So deadlock avoidance algorithm can be used for single instance of a resource type and multiple instances of a resource type. If you have single instance of a resource type, then you can use a resource allocation graph to avoid deadlock. And if you have multiple instances of a resource type, then you can use Banker's algorithm to avoid deadlock. We will study both of these methods of deadlock avoidance in next session. Thank you.